Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Years ago, I saw a cartoon, and it showed a spiritual seeker who had climbed to the top of the highest mountain to find his guru. And there, he reached the top, and there's the guru sitting in lotus posture with meditation and long white beard and robes. And at the foot of the guru, there was a sign, and it said, "The Hokey Pokey." And the caption of the spiritual seeker said, "That's what it's all about." And it's kind of a joke, but there's a meaning behind it. Remember the song, The Hokey Pokey? You put your whole self in, you put your whole self out, and then you turn yourself about. That's what it's all about. And the idea of putting your whole self in is really a powerful spiritual metaphor. So what we want to do is be an all-out, not a holdout. And when somebody is dedicated to something, you feel it. I remember in the town of Paia in Maui, where I used to live, there was a little vegan restaurant, and it was a lovely place. And it wasn't real popular because not that many people wanted vegan food, but it was really good. And they started to go out of business, and they were down to the last few days. And there was this one lady who worked there, and she was holding the fort. And it was like their inventory is diminishing, the customers diminishing, but she was so enthusiastic about being there. And she was talking about the food as if they were at a first-class restaurant in New York. And she was kind of going down with a ship, so to speak. But she didn't really go down because her spirit was so high. She was such a blessing to everybody there because she was fully present even though the restaurant was diminishing. I thought, wow, that's what happens when you put your whole self in. And then once I was invited to speak in Seattle, and for some reason there was a small crowd. They didn't do really a lot of promotion. And I was pretty disappointed because I flew all the way from New Jersey to speak in Seattle. I was kind of bummed, actually. And I remember looking out at the crowd from the stage, and I thought, oh man, what am I doing here? And they had hired some musicians, a couple, a guy and his wife, to go on before me and kind of warm the crowd up. And that couple ran on stage and they sang from their heart and they laughed and they got everybody clapping and moving around. And you'd think that they were playing for 12,000 people at the London Palladium. And I learned a big lesson from them, that you do not compromise what you give because the recipients may be diminished in any way. That what's important is what you put out. Because when you're fully present, that energy has to go through you. And you get charged by giving and expressing regardless of how many people receive or how they receive it. It's, what does St. Francis say? It is in giving that we receive. If you're waiting for something to come back, or waiting for a crowd to show up, or waiting for validation, which is all nice when it comes, but that's not your business. I remember I was speaking in Southern California. There's a man with a famous church, and we were standing off stage before the presentation. And he said, my mentor told me, never count the house. In other words, who shows up and how many people show up are not your business. Of course we like everyone lots to show up, people show up. Of course that's a good goal. But it's a secondary goal to channeling full presence. Put your whole self in. I used to see a chiropractor years ago. And he was a really good chiropractor, really good guy. I liked him. But his priorities changed. And his goal became to how many people can I crank through my practice in a week? It became sort of a numbers game for him. I remember he'd come into the examining room and he'd kind of do my back, how you doing? And off he went. I thought, really? And I didn't feel healed because I didn't feel his presence. And then one week he was absent, and he had a substitute doctor. And this man, by contrast, was very present with me. He sat down with me, he looked me in the eye, he took some time, he touched me, he asked me about my lifestyle and how my lifestyle was reflecting in my body. And he was with me for maybe 15 minutes. And I walked out of that meeting feeling so whole and so healed, because it wasn't just a chiropractic manipulation that he gave me, but he gave me his spirit. His whole self was there. That's the kind of doctor you want to work with. That's the kind of teacher. That's the kind of anybody you want to work with. It's very disheartening when somebody isn't fully present. I used to have an assistant, lovely gal, and she was a very good assistant, but she kept her cell phone with her. And she was on the phone like a lot during her job I was paying her for. And she was like organizing a community project. She had other ideas. She wanted to promote events. And I noticed that, she wasn't fully present for my work. And this went on. I spoke to her about it. It didn't change. So I finally sat her down. I said, look, you're a good secretary. I really like you. But you spent a lot of time on the phone doing something else it's during your work period. And I said, I'm going to let you go, but not because I'm mad at you, because you did a bad job, because I feel that your passion is elsewhere. And I don't want to put you in a position where you're half here. And so I know that there's somebody else who wants to work here and be fully here. And I know that there's another place you want to work where you can be fully there. So let's just tell it like it is and trust that as each of us is true to our passion, then we'll all be in the right place. And she agreed. She took off. And she began to, she built up a very nice event promotion business. She was very happy. I was happy for her. And I got somebody else to take her place who was fully present. It all worked out. But it was not working out when she was half there. P.S. I did a program a few years later, and I saw her. She walked in the door. I said, how you doing? She said, yeah, I came to get my Allen fix. So we parted on good terms. She remained my friend over years. I saw her now and then. And it was so nice that I nudged her to be in her right place, to make place for somebody else to be in that job. See, it's a lie. It's a lie when you're not fully there. Norman Vincent Peale said, be an all-out, not a holdout. So when you encourage people to be in the right place, everybody wins. That if you're half there, it's ripping everybody off. So you might want to take a few moments and think, where are you fully there in your life, and where you're half there. If you're half there in a relationship, it's not going to work. And if you're with somebody who's half there, it's not going to work, because life works when everybody's there. You write that down. Life works when everybody's there. In my coach training, I teach, one of the first lessons is presence. It's presence. And I tell people, if you're fully present with your client, they probably don't have many, if any, people in their lives who are fully present. People on their cell phones, and they're busy and they're doing stuff and they're all distracted. So it's a rare thing when somebody's really present with you. So I said, sit with your client, look them in the eye, give them your full attention, and that's the foundation of a healing session of any kind, whether it's coaching or energy work or Reiki. That full presence is the key. Put your whole self in. And take a moment to think about who in your life has been fully present for you. Who comes to mind? teacher, a friend, a partner, family member, a mentor, a child. When somebody's fully present with you, you feel enfolded, like nothing else is going on. There's a phrase I love. It says, lovers make a fool of time. What does that mean? It means that when you're in love, then time disappears. You've been in love, and when you're with your lover, you're not looking at your clock. You don't care what's going on in the world. You're just with that person. It's just enough to be with them. And, so you can transcend time. You can transcend money. You can transcend the physical. Full presence is really transcendental. It's like, the world disappears when you rise to a state of consciousness when you're fully present. And take a moment to think about, now, who could you be more fully present with? Does your wife or husband talk to you and your mind is elsewhere? Yeah. Well, what if you turned to that person and really looked them in the eye, really listened to them, really heard what they said, and really supported them, and really validated them? A lot of us are waiting for our partner to show up for us when we're not showing up fully for them. I think Tony Robbins has a 90-day or 30-day plan where if couples have a rocky marriage, he gives them the homework. Just remember why you're with this person and focus on what you love about them for 30 days. I forget what his number is. He says, if you can just really be present with your partner and remember why you chose them instead of harping on what's not working, he said your marriage is going to regroup. Because when we find fault and have grievances, our presence drifts. We think, well, maybe I should be with her. Maybe I should be with him. Maybe I should leave this person. Maybe she's not as great as I thought she was or he was. And that's an energy suck on your presence because half of you is elsewhere. See, I'll tell you a funny story about vision and the law of attraction. I have a friend who was dating a guy named Chris, and he was not fully available. He wasn't fully present with her. And she decided to break up with him. And she said to me and some of her friends, she says, I refuse to see unavailable men anymore. Okay. Well, a couple months later, she was in the mall with her son, her little 10-year-old boy. And he started tugging at her sleeve. And he said, Mom, why aren't you talking to Chris? And she said, what are you talking about? I said, well, Chris happened to be in this store, and he's been trying to get your attention for a couple minutes. And she kind of did a double take, and there she saw Chris. And she reminded herself that she made an affirmation, I refuse to see unavailable men anymore. Unavailable men literally went off her radar. She literally did not see him because he wasn't in the field of available men. Interesting, isn't it? So when you make a commitment to be fully present with people who are fully present, then those who are fully present will come onto your radar screen, and those who aren't will not. You might see them, but you won't have any interaction. You won't even, be much aware of them. So presence is really, it's a meditation. It's a life meditation unto itself. Now let's ask another question. When are you most fully present? When is your whole self there? That's a really good question. Be honest. So in the course of a day or a week or a month, what do you do that you bring your whole self to? Put your whole self in, get your whole self out. Well, let's see, for me, it's writing. doing my creative writing, I'm there. And everything else disappears. I could spend a couple, 3 hours writing and it feels like 15 minutes. I can pretty much write anywhere. I write on airplanes, auto shop waiting rooms. I have my little laptop. And when I'm with my writing, I'm right there. That's when I'm fully present. Or when I'm in nature, walking in nature, fully present. When I'm playing with my dogs, fully present. When I'm having a strong conversation with Dee, my partner, fully present. So those are my fully presents. What are yours? Do you like to play music, salsa dance, do yoga, meditate, watch funny movies? So what I'm trying to do is to sensitize you, help sensitize you to where your presence lives. And when you're aware that when I'm doing this, I'm fully present, that is your benchmark. A benchmark is when a carpenter makes a perfect piece that he wants to replicate, he makes a mark on his bench with a pencil to show him that when I make the next piece, this is how I want it to turn out. And so full presence is the benchmark for your life. And so many people have settled for diluted presence that you have to work kind of harder to remember what full presence is, because it's actually pretty rare. So, put your whole self in, get your whole self out. And if you're feeling empty in any way, it's not because of what's not coming back, it's because of what you're not putting out. You've heard me quote from the Course in Miracles, one of my favorite lines. It says, in any situation in which you perceive that something is missing, what is missing is what you're not giving. And so we can heal any situation in which we feel a sense of lack by investing more of ourselves. How cool is that? It does not depend on the other person investing more of themselves. It depends on you investing more of yourself. So we're back to that couple that did the music for me in Seattle. They invested 100% of themselves, and therefore their experience was 100% satisfying. We're kind of results oriented, aren't we? We wait for stuff to come back before we put it out, but it works the other way, and you have to put it out before it comes back. And it may not come back in the moment you put it out. It may come back through another door, another person, or another group, or another job, or another channel some way. But it doesn't matter. It's called involvement without attachment. High investment, low attachment. And we think, well, okay, if I get this number of people, this much money, then it'll be worth it. But no, the presence is what's worth it. And I promise you, that if you are fully present with whatever you're doing, the people will come, the partner will come, the job will come, the money will come, the health will come, because full presence is the law of attraction. Takes full presence and brings everything back to you that is full. We might call this the recipe for a full life. So I'd like to leave you with two suggestions. I call them the two commandments, because I think all religions and all spiritual paths, all consciousness trainings really boil down to this. And it goes like this: do what brings you life and quit doing what deadens you. And what brings you life makes you fully present and delivers your whole self to the world. But then you also deliver your whole self to you, which is all you came to do. Your only job in life is to be your whole self. And when you're done doing that, God says, well done. And even until that happens, your life suddenly becomes a celebration and a miracle, because you put your whole self in.